Is that a breakup?
I think we have a situation right here.
On the Feeling Station.
Welcome to The Feeling Station, a podcast that touches on breakup stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give lessons that they learned from their experiences. We hope you find the stories entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful given the lesson behind everything we're going to talk about today. Now, in this episode, we are outside the great city of London. I'm not going to say exactly where, but it is hella windy here. What is happening here with the weather?
Lord knows.
Jeez.
It is,
I mean, I know the storm hit and stuff and people kind of panic, but this is next level. I am not used to this. How'd you guys cope?
There's another one coming. Just get ready.
Let's
Brace yourself.
Let's not even go there. So this has been a meeting that's been in the making for God knows how long. We keep trying to meet up for this and that. It just doesn't seem to happen. And now it's finally happened. I'm very happy.
Universal alignment.
Yes.
Yes.
When the universe speaks, everything aligns.
Absolutely.
And I hope the universe is going to tell you to tell me a good story today.
Let's hope.
What has it been saying so far?
Let's keep our fingers crossed. Hope for the best.
Now, I'm hoping you've listened to the other episodes
Absolutely.
and you understand the format.
Yep.
Right next to you, you've got two names. They're both African names, and you have to pick one. And the name that you pick is the name of the guy that you were involved with. Because remember, we try and keep everything anonymous here.
Mm-hmm.
So what name have you picked?
Drum roll, please.
And tell me the origins and the meaning.
Okay. Chimola.
Chimola.
That's how you pronounce it. It's African, it says.
Yeah.
Breaker of things. Breaker of things.
Breaker of things.
Breaker of things.
Oh, man. What's that name again?
Chimola.
Chimola. Okay, I'm not sure where that is from exactly. I don't know. That sounds West African. But what I'm intrigued by is the fact that it means breaker of things.
Breaker of things. Hearts included.
Mm.
It is what it is. Good name, though.
Was this guy a breaker of hearts?
I think we all are.
Hmm.
In some capacity, we all break people's hearts, whether we choose to or not.
So the episode you're going to talk about now, is it you who broke his heart or he broke yours?
I think we both walked away heartbroken.
Jeez.
And you just understand it from your perception. So, of course, it'll be easy for me to say, he broke my heart.
Yeah.
But we were in it together.
Then you could say the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not innocent in the whole thing. I'm a god, but I'm not innocent.
Okay.
Yes, just disclaimer.
Okay. Now, I've picked up a name for you.
Okay.
Because obviously I need to keep your name anonymous. And
Uh-huh.
I've picked up a Nigerian name
Hey.
that goes Chioma.
Chioma.
Yeah, which means God is good. That's actually a very common name. I've
Amen.
actually got two names. I got two friends that are called Chioma.
Chioma.
Yeah, so God is good. Right, so I'm going to remember to call you Chioma. You just need to remember to call your dude
Chimola.
Chimola.
I called him Mola. Mola, baby. Yes.
Right, I'm quite looking forward to this, and I think I'm going to dive straight into it.
Go for it.
Well, one of the things that's obviously important is to pick up a lesson or lessons from your experience. Now, do you have a lesson or you have lessons?
Many lessons.
Many lessons. Okay, give me the top 3 lessons that you learned from your experience.
You cannot love somebody else unless you love yourself.
Mm.
You can't.
Self-discovery, self-awareness.
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Family relationship bonds are very important. The way the person relates to their family
Mm-hmm.
is going to be the way that they relate to you to an extent.
Okay.
So you have to be aware of that. And also believing in yourself is very, very important.
Yeah.
You have to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you'll believe in others. And that's where things spiral.
So, top 3 lessons. 1, be aware of yourself, know yourself.
Yeah.
2, understand the family relations of the person you're related to
Yeah.
and the person you're dealing with. And the third one?
Were you paying attention?
Yes, I was.
You cannot love another unless you can love yourself. I had
Great.
to think there. Gosh.
So take me straight in. How did you guys meet?
Oh, it was a beautiful fairy tale. We met at the pub.
You met in the pub? After a drink or before the drinks?
Before the drinks.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's just
okay.
one of those crazy stories. We met
Okay.
at a pub,
Mm-hmm.
and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, what do you think?" I was like, "Oh, girl,
Mm-hmm.
I think yes."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Okay, cool. I'll get the number for you." And now she knew Mala.
Okay.
She knew him.
Right.
So she got the number and she gave me the number, and then they ended up giving us a lift home. And he was just really offish and sarcastic, and
Okay.
but I liked it.
Why did you like?
I gave him a bit of a rush, you know. It's like, oh,
From sarcasm.
yeah, I was like, gosh, yeah, he's so arrogant. Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
You know. And then we were texting back and forth,
Yeah.
and then we arranged to meet up, and then I went for a drink at a hotel with him.
Okay.
And as I arrived there, I find his brother. So my
Okay.
friend had actually given me the brother's number. I don't know if she was eyeing him or whatever, but she'd given me the brother's number. And I am very free.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I was just being me.
Yeah.
I believe that as adults, there's no topics that are out of bounds. I
Okay.
don't really follow time frames. I
Yeah.
don't understand the imaginary dating rules, so
Yeah.
I just do me. And I found the brother, and I was like, oh shit, all those risque memes. You know, I'd been sharing like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
And the first thing I said, I was like, hi, how are you? So
Hmm.
where's your brother?
Yeah.
And he was like, what do you mean? It's like, no, I'm really sorry, but I honestly thought I was texting your broski.
Oh, my
So he's like, no, it's cool. He was really chilled. He's like, no, it's cool. Let's have a drink. And then I'll be sure to pass the number on. I was like,
That is weird.
very strange. So I confronted my friend. I was like, yo, blood, like, why would you do that for? And she's like, just for a laugh.
That is nuts. Okay. I mean, but did you and the brother get on?
Yes, he's
Like a house on
chilled.
fire?
Yeah, he's chilled.
But were you attracted to him? Is you attracted to his?
No.
No.
No. He didn't. He lacked that je ne sais quoi. You know,
that
he wasn't
thing.
sarcastic enough.
Okay.
He wasn't arrogant enough for me. You know. So no, it's like, oh, okay, cool,
Okay.
whatever. So we then linked up and we'd hang out quite
Mm-hmm.
a bit, and he'd see me on the way to work in the morning, and he'd come back from work, and we'd be together and till late, and we'd talk on the phone for ages. It was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess we were going out. We never had that conversation. I guess, you know, to be young and naive.
You know, I've not had anybody here who's told me that we had that conversation to say, "Oh, you know, you're my boo. You know, you're my girl. You're my boy." It just doesn't happen anymore.
That's the problem. That's why we end up in all these situationships, because we're not having these conversations that we
Mm-hmm.
need to have, you know. And then, cool, so we were spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. And then he was seeing somebody at the time who was overseas.
Did you know this?
He told me. This is like when I was really feeling him and stuff. It's like, oh.
So he told you that I'm feeling someone, and you were like, "Yeah, it's cool."
Actually, you played the Erykah Badu song Next Lifetime.
Meaning that, well, you're my boo in the next life.
Yeah.
So let's live the next life now. What a
It's like, you know,
wally.
sorry, you know, I got somebody. I'm like, dude, like we've been like rolling for like 3 months. Yeah, you just need to know I got somebody, you know. Listen to the lyrics of this song.
Yeah.
It's like such a prick.
Yeah.
I like this. And we just sort of cascaded.
I mean, but didn't that bother you though that he had someone?
Well, for me, initially it did.
Mhm.
And then when he explained it that they weren't, you know, guys have a lovely way of spinning the stuff.
Okay.
So he was able to appeal to my competitiveness that I had at the time.
So you were quite competitive. You felt okay. I could outdo this other woman.
I felt it was normal.
Okay.
It was normal to be competitive as women. Now I know better. But I felt it was normal. It's like, okay, cool, we're going to battle till the death. And if I win the man, boom. You know?
yeah.
So that's what it was, you know. And he was like, oh, no, you know, working on bringing her here, but attitude shit is really shit and all other stuff. And okay, cool, whatever.
Okay.
So weird thing.
All right. So he's told you that he's with someone, and you're like, okay, I'm going to get into competition mode. I'm going to be the woman.
Yeah, man. I'm going to get out on top, literally.
Okay. Right. no pun intended.
Yeah, and, you know,
Yeah.
it felt like it worked out really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were faced with a situation where he's had issues with his visa.
Okay.
So the visa he was on, you know, the visa rules are always changing
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
the visa he was on wasn't working anymore, and they wrote to him and said, you need to go
You need
back.
to go. Yeah.
So he said to me, look, the choice is I can go back home, which I'll happily do,
Mhm.
but I'm enjoying the way we're vibing. So what do you think? I was like, dude, it's a no-brainer. Let's just walk down the aisle. We just trip down the aisle real quick. If it doesn't work out 2 years' time, we'll divorce and call it quits. And he was like, no, it's not an option. I'm going to go home. I was like, okay, fair enough. We ended up getting married. I loved him, okay?
So
No, because for me, it was really logical. Like, if
I
it
need to
doesn't-
tap into that a little bit.
No, no.
So
Yeah.
he's like, nah, look, it's not the right thing to do it this way. I'm gonna go back home.
Yeah.
But then you end up walking down the aisle.
Yeah. And he proposed to me on my birthday.
He proposed to you
Oh,
on your
yeah,
birthday.
absolutely.
Did he? Okay, now what changed his mind?
I think because the suggestion came from me
Mm-hmm.
at that moment in time, he probably felt like we shouldn't go down that route.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do it in his own way, I
Okay.
guess. And maybe he wanted it to feel more authentic. Maybe it was authentic at the time. So, cool, he wants me. That's all I kept thinking. He wants me.
So he proposed to you on your birthday.
Yeah.
And then the logical next step is to obviously walk down the aisle.
Yep.
Did you at any point think, okay, he's doing this just because his papers are running out?
I didn't care because it was initially, I'm quite logical in some aspects. So
Yeah.
for me, it was like, look, I'm really enjoying this ride that we're on.
Yeah.
If this is what you need to be in a place where we can continue enjoying it, then let's do that.
Okay.
I don't mind doing that. I lose nothing. You know, if it doesn't work out, then we'll learn the lessons we need to learn and we'll keep it moving.
Okay.
If it works out, fantastic. But it wasn't as big a deal for me. Just because also I think the way that I view relationships and the way I view just interacting with people, nothing's supposed to be forever. So it was okay. For me,
Okay.
it was fine. Everybody else is losing their minds. Why would you do that? You know?
So people knew that you were doing this.
Well-
with his situation the way it was.
Yeah, my immediate circle.
So it was no secret.
No,
Okay.
no, I wasn't going to lie about it.
And for him, did he keep it a secret? Did he tell his people?
As far as everybody knew, he was in love.
Wow.
It was wonderful.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right. So proposal happens on your birthday, and then you
Yes.
guys walk down the aisle.
Yes. It was one of those shotgun weddings. I'm sure some of the listeners will know what that's about.
What does that
You know,
mean?
where you're like, okay, cool, this is really a papers thing, so
Yeah.
let's do it real quick.
Okay. So bang, bang, bang.
Bang. Me and my mum cooked the thing. We had like 100 people. We cooked for everybody. I slept at like 5. We were up at 6. It was hectic, you know. But it was done. And I was chuffed because it meant that we could continue on this journey.
Yeah.
I didn't care for anybody else's rules about what it should look like. And that wasn't an issue for me.
Yeah.
And it was fine initially. And then we bought a house and it was fine still. And then we had a child. And everything changed.
What changed?
Well, I changed for a start because now I've got somebody I need to look after,
Yeah.
somebody I need to fend for. So my outlook on fun times is not going to the club and coming back at like 5 in the morning.
No.
You know, priorities had changed for me. And I assumed, naively so, that it would be an automatic thing, that we would be on the same page. We're now a family. You can go out once in a while, but not every weekend, you know. And let's do this family thing. But that clashed with what he wanted. And what he wanted was the freedom to be whoever he wanted to be and do whatever he wanted without having to answer to me. Later on, I came to understand that there was a massive cultural difference. The understanding of roles, gender roles, were completely different. And that was the catalyst for so many things that happened after.
So your firstborn, did you guys plan to have?
Yes.
So you guys actually planned to have this
I
child?
didn't want to have kids. I didn't want to have children
At all?
No,
Okay.
I wanted to travel the world and be a free spirit and do what free spirits do, you know. And I remember one point before we even had the child, I said to him, dude, I want to move to London. Mola, baby, I need to move to London. He said, why? I said, honey, lights, camera, action. It's calling my name down there, you know what I mean? Like, let's do that. And he's like, nah, you know, I just moved here with my family and I'm not going to do that. So if you want to go, you can go, but I'm not. And for me, that put me in a place of, okay, I want the camera, action, and lights, but I also want the stability that comes here. Now, just to rewind, to give you a little bit of my own background, I came from a single parent situation.
Yeah.
So when it felt like it was secure, I didn't want to destabilize that.
Yeah.
So if it meant doing whatever he wanted me to do,
You do it
I'll do it.
because
I
it keeps the
wanna-
unit stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. It feels good to be wanted, which is why I said earlier, you
Mm.
wanted me. You know, it feels good to be wanted. It feels good to be needed and to cater to somebody. So I didn't think twice about it. It's like, cool.
So baby's here and things are starting to change. This guy wants the life of the party, and you're thinking this is the wrong time and place for that sort of thing.
It's not working.
Has he always been the guy who's the life of the party?
Absolutely.
So there was nothing different there.
Nope.
Okay. So were you a little disappointed
Very.
when he wasn't changing?
Absolutely.
But what did you expect? Because that's who he is.
Yes, but I was also free and footloose and living my best life before the child. And with the child came the changes. Now I didn't understand that for me the changes were more biological. So I couldn't there's nothing I could do to stop it
Yeah.
because of who I am and how I want to be as well with my kids and all of this stuff. So it was really disappointing that he wasn't on board with me. And he was really disappointed because I wasn't on board. Like, why do you want me to change? He'd say, you knew who I was when we got together. I'm going, yeah, but I've got a child. He's like, so I'm still the same person. What do you mean? You've changed. And I'm going, no, you haven't. We've got a family. What do you mean? And it was just a downward spiral. So eventually when she was maybe 7 months, I was like, okay, this is not working. So I started speaking to somebody else on Facebook.
Whoa, come on now.
Yeah, I did. And that's largely because I felt very alone. At times I felt very overwhelmed. And I was at home all the time.
So where was he?
Out, work, friends, partying. So his life continued. And then when he felt like it, he'd
He'd
be
turn up.
there. And
Yeah.
he'd be there like, okay, cool, I'm here. Or he'd say things like, well, I'm sleeping at home, so what's your problem?
Jeez.
And when you are in a place of not loving yourself, you'll take whatever love is on the table.
And this is what you said right at the beginning,
Yeah.
love yourself.
Absolutely. So it's like, okay, this is the love on the table. It's fine, guys mature later. It's fine, And we would tend to justify destructive behavior and we justify trauma because that's what bonded us, our trauma. It's taken me a long time to understand that part. Sometimes we're attracted to people, not because of who they are or whatever, but because we've got trauma bonds.
So one of your lessons there is that understand the person's family.
Yes.
What was his family like?
They seemed lovely
Yeah.
for the most part, except like, can I speak freely?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'd go to parties. Now, this is the issue with colorism. Like, people make assumptions based on your skin tone. So we'd go to family do's and family outings, and they'd be really offish with me. Sometimes it'd be like, well, you should know how to speak the language by now. Why can't you? And what's so special about you? And, eventually when you hang around with people long enough, you do understand the language.
Yeah.
So they'd be sitting and talking shit, and I'm right there.
Jeez.
And it's like, oh, okay. But for me, it was like a wife endures. And sometimes his family's rough and it's okay because I've got my family unit. And, it's fine. It's fine.
You
it's
don't
fine.
rock the boat. This is a safe place. You want to keep that
Yeah.
as safe and sturdy as possible.
Just keep it going. You know what I mean? Let's keep it. And now that there's a child, it's like, no, I don't want to do the same thing to my child that I had to grow up with. So I'm
Yeah.
going to stick through it. It's going to be okay. But it wasn't. So I started talking to somebody else and he made me feel wonderful because he saw me. Well, I felt like he saw me, He'd check on me and it felt lovely. So things continued to spiral. And of course, emotionally, I had checked out now.
Yeah.
And eventually he was like, look, this is not working. You need to move.
Like you need to move.
Yeah. And I said, why should I move? You move. He's like, oh, no, but you're not working. That's something else. He didn't want me to go back into work after I had my daughter. It's like, no, a woman's place is at home.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Was this guy emotionally abusive?
Yes, very. Very.
Was he like that from the onset? or-
No. But now, it didn't feel like it, but now I know the arrogance and the sarcasm.
Right from right.
It
the
was there.
beginning,
Right from the
okay.
start, it was there.
You
But
just
because
you just couldn't see it because
know
you
what
were
it
seeing
was.
something else.
Yeah.
You were seeing just how handsome he was and how attractive you were to him.
Yeah.
But you liked that though.
I did.
Why?
Background, the way you grow up, childhood trauma. So you grow up seeing certain behaviors and you think that those behaviors are fine. I understand it now.
Okay.
You think that, oh, okay, that's fine. That's just the way people interact, That's just how you do things.
That's deep.
We don't realize. And half the time, we don't even catch this until like 60s. Life is gone, and you're now in this old age home going, damn it.
Yeah.
If only I'd realized. Because we pick up the same kind of people.
Yeah.
We keep on reliving the same kind of trauma over and over and over again. So he decided that, no, this is not working, you need to move. So I moved out. I
did
know,
you go?
guys, I know. I entered into rented accommodation.
But why did you say yes to that?
I didn't want the fuss.
Oh, okay.
Didn't want the
Again, you
bother.
just didn't want to rock the boat.
No.
You're really about stability, aren't you?
Absolutely. I said, okay, cool. I'll move. If it means that we'll get into a better place, I'll move.
Okay.
So I took my daughter and we moved out. And he'd visit. And it only took, now, this is something else as well that I need to sort of side note.
Yeah.
I grew up a very sheltered life. Very sheltered, very church, and to a point, even though now I've got a bit more life experience, but I still have this issue with being a bit naive sometimes.
Yeah.
So certain things to me would be like, and I was really chilled. So it's like, meh, it'll pass. So he'd come over and he'd spend time with my daughter and he'd be eating and he'd come 3-4 times in the week and he'd chill and kick back and I'd cook and happy families. And then he'd jump in the car and go to the house that we bought together. And I'm staying in this moldy house.
That is unbelievable.
It's life. Yeah. So eventually it just got too much. I ended up moving into my mom and then I moved out to a different place. And then I had this moment like, why the hell am I going and living in all these different places?
Yeah.
I've got a damn house.
Yeah.
Screw it, I'm moving back. And I had a bright idea like, no, I want to have another child. So it makes sense to have another child with him. It seemed to make sense at the time.
Yeah.
In my mind, because, I don't want people to talk. I don't want them to look at me funny if I've got all these kids, by all these men, So he agreed, like, yeah, okay, cool. But the funny thing is when I moved back, he was like, look, we're not together.
You made that clear.
Yeah, we're not together. We're sharing a house, but we're not together. Understand? I was like, yeah, okay. And then he's like, okay, cool, we'll have another child. But listen, we're not together, okay? Because I don't want to have kids by other people either. So, but we're not together. Okay, cool.
He was drilling that in.
Oh, yeah. And then somewhere along the line, I started thinking, oh, maybe he'll see me.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll realize that I'm actually kind of cool. Maybe he'll see that. Not realizing that by coming back, all that did was high five to himself. I got her.
She still wants me.
Yeah, I got her. So that carried on for about 4 years. Just, we're not together.
So baby number 2 comes in.
Baby number 2. Baby number 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, baby number 3. And then that's when I realized, oh, okay, shit. Because I'd be like, dude, like, what are we doing? Mola, baby, what are we doing? And he's like, look, I'm at a crossroads, okay? There's these infamous words. I don't think I'll ever forget those. I need to write them down. I don't know what I want right now. So if you just keep on being a good wife, it'll be easier for me to decide. I said, I'll be a good wife. Okay.
I'll be a good wife.
I'll be a good wife.
I'll be a good wife.
Yeah.
This is your mantra.
I'll be a good wife. He'll see me.
And it's
damn
stable
it.
here.
Yeah.
He'll see just how good I am.
Yeah, he'll see me. And then eventually it was like, no, he ain't gonna see shit.
What made the penny drop?
Okay. So you asked if he is, hopefully he's reformed, emotionally abusive. He was financially abusive as well. So at the time I didn't have any money coming in at all. So he would be in control of everything, down to buying pads. And he would scrutinize because he's like, okay, you do online shopping. Here's the money. And then he'd come back and he'd scrutinize the list.
Come on
I swear.
now.
And he'd be like, why did you buy this and that and this? We don't need that. What's that about? Oh, sorry. And eventually, okay, what actually happened was he had been provoking me for a while.
Yeah.
Now, I'm one of those people who's chilled, and then I'll explode.
Yeah.
So he'd been provoking, and he was really good because he'd use his words. He wouldn't touch me, but he'd use his words and he'd poke and prod. And then eventually I would react and say, you see, You see? Your problem.
You're not being a good wife.
Why would you see? Like, see what you made me do? You very abusive,
Talk
you know.
about a mind fuck.
Madness.
I mean, excuse my French, but
So it was
that's
like
what that's what this feels like.
complete. So I was in the kitchen holding my 4-week-old baby, the last born, and he had been saying some shit. And of course, at this point, I was like, I'm sick of this. So I was giving it back, like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me tell you some shit about yourself and your abandonment issues.
Mm.
Like, no holds barred, let's go, you know? And I just had enough. So I pushed him. I had enough. And he turned and he looked at me. And he's like tall. I'm tall, but he's taller
So
than
when
me.
you say pushed, you physically pushed
Yeah,
him?
I pushed him. I was carrying the baby and I pushed him because he was in my face.
Yeah.
So I pushed him like, get out my face.
Get out of my space, yeah.
So he turned and he kissed me. Now, this man had not touched me. Ever since we made the baby, he didn't touch me because he's like, oh, you're disgusting, you're fat. Like, ew. He said the one time, ew.
Jeez.
So he looked at me and something snapped in him. And I just saw his hand. It was almost like slow motion. Bearing in mind, I'm carrying a 4-week-old baby. His hands went up slowly and he gripped my neck and he squeezed and he pushed me into the cupboards. So I couldn't go anywhere. And he squeezed. And the thing that will never leave my mind, as I'm trying to breathe, I can feel my eyes are going mad. He smirked.
Jeez. That's deep.
That's when I knew. I'm going to die.
That is messed up.
It's life. So I called my mum, and she called his family, and everybody came, and he lied. He lied. He
What did he
sat
say?
there and he lied.
What did he say?
She lies, and she provoked me, and she's this and she's that. And okay, but why do you go out all the time, dude? Just lies. Lies. And then it took me like 6 months to finally be like, you know what? I'm filing for divorce. So while we were still in the same house, because at that point I said to him, I'm out. We need to sell the house. Because he's like, I'm not moving. If you want to go, you go. So this is like 9 years down the line. I'd already moved around. And I was like, no, screw you. We selling this bitch.
So, but just whilst you're on that, we've obviously picked up that he was emotionally abusive and then something snapped. And there was an element of physical abuse starting to creep up in there.
That's where it started and stopped. Because from there I avoided him. I avoided talking. I avoided anything that could potentially explode. That's when I knew, okay, it's time to go. Filed for the papers. Papers came through. And this is what's the mad thing about him, about Mullah, baby. He's very reaction-based or orientated. So when the divorce papers came through, he didn't say anything. He didn't fight. He filled out the papers. He sent them through. Because now the government's involved. So he's really chilled. He sent the papers. And then afterwards he's like, yeah, well, who do you think you are to divorce me? Nobody will want you, he said. You and your 3 kids. Who's going to want you? It's only me. I believed him. I said, shit. For real. With this brood of kids, ain't nobody going to check for me. So eventually the house sold and the divorce went through. And I moved. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for, and I genuinely feel grateful for the process, for the lessons, for the journey, because I wouldn't have my kids, and they drive me nuts, you know. But I wouldn't be where I am within myself right now, if it had not been for that situation, because that went on for like 10 years.
And you've really spoken about something that's really solid here, and I think now is a really good time just to ask what that has done for you as a person.
I love me.
Yeah.
I love me. Of course, the complication now is that I've got kids. So I can't go and chase the shiny lights. Even though I want to. I really want to go and chase those lights. They sure look good. But But I'm more confident, and now I know that love in its essence doesn't hurt other people. Yes,
Yeah.
the journey can be hurtful because we are very different people. We've got very different life experiences. But love itself, it's not, it doesn't hurt, you know? Sarcasm and arrogance is usually a mask for fear, for traumas that we're not addressing.
Yeah.
So that is not something to run towards.
Something to run away
Away
from.
from, yeah. You get away from that shit real quick. You know what I mean? Because all of that is masking some other deeper rooted shit that, you know, if you want to unpack, by all means go, but don't put your heart in it while you're trying to
Because
unpack.
it's going to get broken.
Yeah.
Remember what this guy's name is and what it means? Breaker of things.
Absolutely.
Feels like he
Absolutely.
broke you, but by breaking you, he unleashed something that's even more beautiful, didn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what? I can't even say that he broke me. I think that it was a necessary process. And to an extent, I broke myself. Out of myself. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
You know, I needed to be in that place to understand that coming from a single parent household is not the end of the damn world.
Yeah.
And just because everybody else has got shit to say about single parent households doesn't mean that it's true. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you are less worthy of love, of respect, of, you know, being seen. All of this stuff. Now I get it. Like, okay, I finally understand what it means. Now I can love another. I can genuinely say I love another because I love who I am, and I understand that I don't need anyone to complete me because I'm complete now. Anybody who comes into my life is going to compliment me, and I will compliment them, and we'll flourish.
That is beautiful.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
So I always find it really funny whenever, you know, anybody asks me, so how long were you married? I'll say 10 years because that's what it was on paper. But realistically, we spent like 5-6 years separated. So really, I was only married for like 2 or 3. Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Even though I was bound to the person and we were going through. So when you see it's complicated on places like Facebook,
It can be real complicated.
there's
isn't
trauma
it?
in there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
don't shame that person or
I've
whatever. Like,
seen-
they're
I've-
dealing with some shit.
I've seen a lot of those. It's complicated things, and looking from the outside, sometimes you just say, "Oh, that person is attention seeking." It can't be
Absolutely.
that bad.
Yeah.
But
And also, if you see us out, like if you saw us out and about, you'd think we're fine. Because we'd be laughing and joking and, you know, and he'd be all lovey-dovey and we'd look cool. Like, yeah, they the couple. Wonderful. But in reality, not so much. But I'm grateful. I am genuinely grateful for it.
you really do sound like you're in a good place right now.
I feel wonderful. Do you know what? Actually, I have to try and see how I word this. After a really long time, I hadn't been able to write because I like writing.
Yeah.
And once the dust had settled, you know, I picked up a pen, and suddenly all these beautiful melodies and sceneries and everything just sort of flooded, and was like, wow, there she is. Like, she vanished for a bit, but hi, she exists, and wow, she's got all this stuff to say. And,
Yeah.
you know, now it's like finding time and finding a way to try and navigate life now, but still being free, which can be trying. But it's wonderful because now everything, and coming from being a creative person and coming from a creative space,
Yeah.
it's often these low points, people like to call them low points, that bring forth the most beautiful flowers.
That is true.
You know, like Tupac said, you know, the rose in concrete. You don't even know what the background story is, but you're looking and you're going, wow,
That thing looks amazing.
it looks amazing. And it's often because you've had to deal with some shit to get to where you need to be. But I'm always grateful for him. Actually, not like a year after we were divorced and stuff, he bought a house. And I went over to congratulate him. I was like, hey, well done, dude. Congrats. You know, I'm genuinely happy that you're doing this. How's your business doing? You know, how's everything for you? Because I want good for him. I want him to be happy, you know, and I want me to be happy. And I know that the road to happiness
Yeah.
It doesn't come from anybody else.
No.
It's all internal. So now, just putting out there, I'm looking for more Prince Charming. I promise I've dealt with my shit.
That is absolutely brilliant. I mean,
Yeah, I've dealt with my shit, Yeah, it's pretty,
just as I'm wrapping this up, to anybody who's listening to this particular episode, it's by far been the most emotional that I've been so far. I have a beautiful rose in front of me that has made it out of that concrete and is absolutely blossoming. The 3 important lessons that she brought out today was, 1, you need to understand who you are from the onset. And when you do have an idea of who you are, get a feeling of the people that you're interacting with, the family that they're involved in, what are they like? Because what they have surrounding them is likely going to influence what they're going to be like when they're surrounding themselves around you. And the most important of all the lessons that has come out today is learn to love yourself. Chioma in front of me clearly loves herself. And for anybody who's listening to this episode of the podcast, I'm just going to sign off by saying that if you didn't love yourself, it's time that you give yourself some love, because that love can only manifest and blossom into a beautiful rose coming out of a concrete pavement. You've been listening to The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and we will catch you in the next episode. Peace.
All up in my feelings, I'm all up in my feelings, yeah.